Okay, we are going to roll into qualification badges. There's lots of different ways to wear these, depending on how many you have, how many clasps are on each. If you choose to wear skill badges on the pocket flap or above the rack. So, as far as bare minimal goes, we're just going to talk about qualification badges, and I do have a driver's badge and mechanics badge as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. That's pulled directly out of the APAM 670-1, like all of this is. It's paragraph 22-15C, and it's worn from the wearer's right, the order of precedence from the wearer's right out. So your driver's badge, mechanics badge, operator component bar, anything of that nature, this guy, per the regulation, is of lesser precedence than qualification badges. Now, I have seen it worn both ways. Just looking at what the reg says and the actual image in the reg, it's putting your qualification badge to the right of your driver mechanics badge, regardless of how many clasps are attached. If you just have one, it's going to be centered. Of course, if you have more than one, you're looking for at least 1 inch of space in between each. Again, if you have 3, if you have skill badges, it gets a little hairy and different there. But as far as this video goes, we're just going to talk about 2 badges or 1 and where they go as far as the uniform in the pocket. All right, let's work on putting these in place. I'm actually not going to use the painter's tape for this, with how wide it is, how not tacky it is, and there's always a little bit of curvature in the pocket, so you're not really going to get a good solid line. Plus, it's just 1/8 of an inch. You're going to have to do a little bit of wiggling anyway. I really wouldn't bother with the painter's tape. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get that full width measurement, and you want to get it as close to the top as you can. Most of these jackets, they'll flare out just a little bit below the stitching, and if you're measuring further down, it's going to give you some jacked up measurement. So get it right off the top. So I'm looking at exactly 5.5. My badges here are exactly 1 inch and exactly 1 inch. So if I'm looking for at least 1 inch of spacing in between, that would be 1 inch of spacing, 1 inch for each of these, which is a total of 3. Take that 3 out of the 5.5, and that's going to leave me with 2.5, which I'm going to have to split between the left and the right side. Cut it right down the middle. It's 1 1/4. So the outermost side of my lower badge, if I have 2 or more, in this case 2, is going to be that 1 1/4 of an inch. Again, at a maximum, the outermost side of the other badge is again going to be 1/4 of an inch, or 1 1/4 of an inch, excuse me. That's going to meet my minimum of 1 inch requirement in the middle. You can bring it in a little bit, just as long as you do not exceed, or excuse me, as long as you don't bring it below that 1 inch. So diving in, we're looking for that 1 1/4 inch, which I have my ruler set to. Move this other badge out of the way. I'm just going to set it right here on the top and line my badge up to the edge of it. If I could grab a hold of it, that'd be great. All right, now I'm not going to press it all the way into the jacket just yet. I want to make sure I'm meeting that 1/8 requirement. So I'll slide it down to an 1/8 inch. Check it here. Definitely needs to walk down just a little. Just a little. Okay, so we're looking at a good 1/8 right here. Yes, and yes. If you've got an 1/8 on both sides, it's straight. Of course, your jacket might have a slight curve to it. That's okay. Just make sure you've got your 1/8. If you've got it pushed forward or pushed back, that's really going to throw your measurement off. You want to push just enough pressure where it kind of sinks into the jacket, but not enough that it actually punctures and goes through. If it's flush and level, you've got your 1/8 inch, and you've got your requirement here that you've already got your math for. Just keep your finger on it, reach through, and make sure you're pushing that all the way through. You're going to push it through the flap and the remainder of the jacket too. Do not be that guy that just stitches it, or excuse me, just punches it right into that pocket flap. These are long pins. You put the davits on the back, it sets up off the jacket. It doesn't give you as good of a look. So make sure it's pushed in before you put the davits on. Double check your measurement. See, I've came down just a smidge there and a little more than a smidge there. So you can just walk it just a little bit. Keep one of the pins in, bring it out very gently and move it up a little. Push it back through. Double check your measurement. This can be a frustrating thing. Just be as calm and patient as you can with it. Every time you push it, you're gonna get more than you asked for. So a little dab will do you. Get it pushed in. We're back to an eighth, back to an eighth. So my phone was cool enough to die while we were shooting that video. I did go ahead and place the rest of the things on there. But this is what it's gonna look like. You've got at least 1 inch in the middle. Of course, this looks a little crooked because of the way it's laying, but at least 1 inch in the middle, and these are evenly spaced apart. So 1/8 inch from the top, evenly spaced, and at least 1/8 inch in the middle. And that's gonna be your qualification badges.